Hey guys, today is April 1st, 2021. Happy April Fool's Day is Thursday, our last day for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in and coming to check out the lesson for today. So we're finishing up our Reconstruction unit today. So you guys should have all of this information completed: presidential, congressional Reconstruction, the assassination of Lincoln, the Reconstruction Amendments 13th, 14th, and 15th, Freedmen's Bureau, Black Code. Today we're going to concentrate on sharecropping and a couple other topics. Ku Klux Klan, we finished up on yesterday, conflict lead system, and then you guys are going to complete the bottom part of this based on the information that we have done for the entire unit. So today we are going to pick up at scalawags and carpetbaggers as well as sharecropping. So let's get started. The term carpetbaggers refers to someone who arrives in a new region with a suitcase or carpet bag of possessions. Their goal was to profit from a situation that causes others trouble. And in this case, it was a civil war. The goal was to profit from situations that causes others trouble. After 1865, a number of Northerners moved to the South to purchase land, lease plantations, or partner with down and out planters in the hopes of making money from cotton. Okay, so that was their goal. At first, they were welcomed as Southerners saw the need for Northern capital or money and an investment to get the devastated region back on its feet. They later became an object of hate as many Southerners saw them as newcomers seeking to get rich on their misfortune. It became the term to refer to a Yankee who moved to the South and usually meant a darn Yankee and not to be trusted, a scoundrel. So in reality, most Reconstruction era carpetbaggers were well-educated members of the middle class. They worked as teachers, merchants, journalists, and other types of businessmen. Or at the Freedmen's Bureau, an organization created by Congress to provide aid for newly liberated African Americans. Many were former Union soldiers. In addition to economic motives, a good number of carpetbaggers saw themselves as reformers and wanted to shape the post-war South in the image of the North, which they considered to be a more advanced society. Though some carpetbaggers undoubtedly lived up to the reputation as corrupt, many were motivated by a genuine desire to reform and concern for the civil and political rights of the freed African Americans. So make sure you go ahead and answer those three questions based on the information that we just read. Scalawags, white Southern Republicans known to their enemies as scalawags, made up the biggest group of delegates to the radical Reconstruction era legislatures. Some scalawags were established planters, mostly in the Deep South, who thought the whites should recognize African American civil and political rights while still retaining control of political and economic life. Okay, that was their goal. That was what they wanted to do. The majority of the scalawags were non-slave holding small farmers, as well as merchants, artisans, and other professionals who had remained loyal to the Union during the Civil War. Many lived in northern states of the region, and a number of them had either served in the Union Army or been imprisoned for Union sympathies. Though they though they differed in their views on race, these men wanted to keep the hatred rebels from regaining power in the post-war South. They also wanted to develop the region's economy and ensure that the survival of its debt-ridden small farms. The term scalawag was originally used as far back in the 1840s to describe a farm animal of little value. It later came to refer to a worthless person. For opponents of Reconstruction, scalawags were even lower on the scale of humanity than the carpetbaggers. So they were considered lower than the Northerns who moved to the South to make money off their misfortunes, as they were viewed as traitors to the South. So they were seen as traitors because they went against the beliefs that the rebels was right and that the African Americans should still be in slavery and bondage and they shouldn't have rights. Scalawags had diverse backgrounds and motives, but all of them shared the belief that they could achieve greater advancement in the Republican South than they could by opposing Reconstruction. So that was their motive, to achieve greater advancement in a Republican South that they could by opposing Reconstruction. Taken together, scalawags made up roughly 20% of the white electorate and wielded a considerable influence. Many also had political experience from before the war, either as a member of Congress or as judges or local officials. So go ahead and answer those two, questions. So this is a political cartoon. This is probably one of the most popular political cartoons when we look at scalawags and carpetbaggers. So go ahead and answer those questions as well. So let's move over to our sharecropping section. So sharecropping, even though slavery was outlawed by the 13th Amendment, remember the 13th Amendment gave us freedom or gave the African Americans freedom, many African Americans were still trapped in a legal form of slavery. Sharecropping. Sharecropping was a way for very poor farmers to earn a living from land owned by someone else. The landowner provided land, housing, tools, seeds, and money for food and supplies. At harvest time, the sharecropper was expected to pay back the landowner with profits from the sale of the crop. However, the system kept people in poverty. The sharecropper was never able to sell enough of the crop to receive a profit. Instead, he would get farther and farther in debt to the landowner. By the late 1860s, white farmers also became sharecroppers. Sharecropping was one of the few options for poor freedmen to farm and support themselves and their families. Sharecropping was popular. At first, it appeared to help others to work the land. Sharecroppers had to buy seed and tools, sometimes from the land plantation owner, who often charged high prices. Contracts also typically gave half or less of the crop to the sharecropper, and the sale price in some cases was set by the landowner. Lacking the resources to market his crops independently, the sharecropper continued the cycle of poverty. So if I you provide me with all the materials for my farm to be successful, and then once I plant my seeds and I get ready for harvest, I have to give the majority of my crop to you, then that leaves me very little to sell and make money for myself. So now I have to go back to you, get more supplies, more seeds, and continue this process. And I continue to get further and further in debt. So this is why we consider it a legal form of slavery. So let's take a look at this at a video really quickly. All right, and so that is some information about sharecropping. And so, guys, this ends our lesson for today. So make sure that you complete those sections, and you're also going to complete this. Was Reconstruction America's greatest failure or success? So once you finish that, that leaves us only a few things to do. You guys are going to summarize the information, answer the questions for sharecropping, and you should have before the Civil War and during the Reconstruction stuff answered. And then based on what you know, how would you explain Reconstruction? So make sure you get all of those sections done as well. So after today, everything in your digital resource assignment should be done, and you should be able to submit. um, I will begin grading those on Monday. So get your work turned in. All right, guys, as always, have a great one. Peace.